Hello. Hello,
Hello.
everyone. Happy Monday.
Just gonna test this audio.
The audio works. All right. Good morning, everyone. Today is October the 6th. Whew, here we go. Another Monday, another week, right?
How are you doing, April?
Oh, wow. I mean, I started my day off like taking charge of my life and going to a 6 a.m. exercise class, and I feel like on top of the world and excited and so proud of myself.
Mm-hmm.
Figure if I could do a 6 a.m. exercise class on a Monday, it sets my intention of like I can do anything all week long.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good thing I did that because within an hour later, I was holding a puke bucket for a sick kid. I think we all in this field have probably done that before. And those of you who may be parents have for sure done that before. So, yeah. So at first I was like, really, I got myself like pumped up to get so much work done today.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I'm dealing with. And then I quickly reframed that too. Wow, isn't it great that I got my workout done so early and out of the way, or else it wouldn't have been done today? And I have the energy and the endorphins pumping to like handle this pivot first thing on a Monday morning. So there we are. Hope your Monday morning was more like my 6 o'clock and off to a good start. And I hope you haven't had to have any pivots yet. But if you have, cheers to you.
Mm.
So, what do we have today to talk about in the ABA world?
I don't know.
You don't know. You're bringing the energy today, Stephen.
I'm bringing the energy.
You're bringing the
All right,
energy.
let's do this then.
All right, Michigan. All right, story time about Michigan. So, Michigan's HB 5044 would require school districts to allow students to receive medically necessary treatment, including ABA, during the school day. While this is progress for access, it doesn't require insurance companies or Medicaid to reimburse for ABA in school settings. Districts must create policies for allowing private clinicians in schools, but providers may still face denials for services billed under school place of service codes. So that HB 5044 expands access, but not necessarily coverage
Yeah.
because that reimbursement rules remain unchanged. I know we all like that's a constant struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's great if you're able to provide services during the school day, but it's not always best for the learner to be pulled from school.
Right.
Or maybe they don't have the opportunity to come to your clinic or for you to go to their home and to provide services during a school day. Because that typically means a work day for the parents too. And it just may not be appropriate for the child. The best setting for them may be the school day.
Yes.
So am I understanding this correctly that the schools are saying yes, you can provide services within our school
No.
in Michigan?
So Michigan, what this representative is trying to do is
Okay.
she's written a law that would require ABA services to be done at school, so that
Okay.
they cannot be
So it
prevented.
hasn't been like it's not passed yet, but this is
No,
what
no.
they're hoping to
But
accomplish.
like, I didn't see anywhere where it said, "Oh yeah, once this is in place, then you can actually provide services." I'm my concern, and again, I couldn't. There was one article on this, nothing else. So this is new. I don't know how long this is going to take. Um, but my concern is that, okay, you're allowed to do it in the school, but does your funder pay for it in the school? And so, like, even having educational
Yeah.
goals can be denied by funders.
Right. So I mean
So
that could be really tricky because
correct.
they're gonna ask to see the IEP. They're gonna want to make sure that the goals that you're covering are not the same goals as the goals on the IEP. They're
Yes.
gonna want to make sure that this is very specific to most likely like behavior that's for reduction, right? Or like
Yeah.
yeah, it's really hard to make a case for not I shouldn't say it's hard. Like you definitely have to build a case for like why am I working on this goal and how is it not educational that's being like, helped by the IEP and the IEP team at school. It does take some skills to know how to word that, and I can see it would be even more, even if insurance said sure you could use school as the setting, or like use community code or whatever for the setting,
Mhm.
then I think just you're gonna have to really do a lot of hard work to describe what you're doing that's different than what the school's doing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I would
I'd
say
love to know people's
the
thoughts on
same
this.
like on the tech side of things, right?
Right.
Like if a lot of this is like, okay, we're assisting, right? We're not actually implementing. I don't know how that exactly works, right? It seems like in my opinion, it's like, well, we can't get this in the education budget, so we're gonna pawn this off on somebody else, right? Like that's what it seems like to me.
Well,
So
yeah, I mean, I've worked in schools over the years where they're like, sure, we'll allow you to have have a tech come into the home, into the school to
right,
provide ABA services.
right,
Sure, we would love to learn about how ABA could help this kid and perhaps the other kids in the classroom.
right.
But like, oh, you want us to pay for it? Oh, well, that's a whole
Yes,
different can of
yes,
worms,
yes.
right? We'll let you bring your own person in. And then there are those schools where they're very close and they're like, no, we don't
Yep.
allow ABA um, in the school, or private providers, or, you have to be affiliated with a school to come into the school. It is different across even in one state,
Yep. Yeah,
it's
I mean,
different.
we're working with a customer, I believe it's in Connecticut. No, maybe it's New Jersey. Um, that is getting a school contract where their whole team can come into the school and help with their special education program and get paid for it. So like it really does depend on the school district, on the county. So and so from what I understand is that they're trying to make this like statewide, that schools cannot um, deny medical necessary um,
Treatment.
treatment in the school. So that's great, but again, it doesn't really do you much if you're not going to get paid for it. So I don't. And I didn't see anything on that.
So is this just like talking about private providers, or like was there
No,
anything about Medicaid
it was
or?
all like it
Mhm.
doesn't matter what funding source. I didn't see anything about funding sources. Period.
So yeah, this is just still so new. So those of
Yes.
you who are Michigan, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear, is this something that you're hearing
Mhm.
other providers talk about? And then definitely getting together with, all of you providers in Michigan, if you haven't heard about this, reaching out to other providers,
Mhm.
reaching out to, I'm assuming CASP could be
Yeah, maybe.
helpful,
Huh.
or just your
Cass wants to
Michigan.
come on our news program to
Yes,
discuss these. We would love
yes.
that.
Um, but even
Wink, wink.
but even Michigan, ABA, um, yeah,
Yep.
and see, reach out to each other and
Yep.
see what's going on and how you guys can pull together to help each other to
Yeah,
make this happen.
and just some things that you well need, like like many schools call for MOU, so memorandum of understanding, and then how you deal with privacy in a school, right, is a little different from HIPAA.
Yeah, because
So
FERPA
yes,
and HIPAA,
yeah.
like there are some differences.
Yes. Yeah. So just like if this again, just kind of stay in the know, right? And if I see any updates, I will certainly update the story. But these would be things that I would be definitely considering, right?
And
Is looking at
yeah,
these
and
things.
definitely in that realm of like collaboration, right? Position your company to partner. How can
Correct.
we help you, school district? How can we help you, school? And I'm not saying this is true for every school, but I have been involved in school districts that they're like, absolutely no, we don't want ABA people in here.
Yep.
We don't want someone telling us what to do.
Yep.
So,
And I can
I
understand
can
that.
understand that too.
Yep.
So we just really need
Especially
to,
if you don't have resources to do the things that they're
right,
requesting,
right,
right? Like
right.
that's that I think
So,
that's the biggest issue is it's not that I think everybody's on the same side here, right? The issue seems to be more the resources, and so Michigan has decided, hey, we don't have the we don't have
yeah.
the resources, so we're gonna give it to somebody else. I don't know,
Well, and
like
maybe too, like the resources, yes, but also just like the tone of
yeah,
how we come in,
sure,
what our intention is in
yeah,
this space, like what is it that we're trying to accomplish, and like really taking a minute to determine that for ourselves as providers before, marching into a school to help, right? How do we want to help?
mhm.
How can we work together?
All
Yeah.
right, and then we have our problem state is back again.
Problem state.
Yeah, it seems like
Oh,
every second week
oh,
we're talking about
okay.
these people.
Colorado. Colorado autism therapy lawsuit. What it means for ABA providers. Okay. So, families, providers, and advocacy groups have sued the state of Colorado over Medicaid cuts to autism therapy. The lawsuit claims the reductions violate parity and access laws, arguing that 10 million in behavioral therapy cuts make medically necessary care inaccessible. The case reflects a larger national issue. Behavioral health funding is often the first target when budgets tighten. So tell us more.
So yeah, so they're trying to put in pre-authorizations. So from what I understand, pre-authorizations are not in place currently with Colorado Medicaid. And so the government is trying to put these in place now in hopes to decrease the amount of treatment and save some money on the budget.
So do you know this? Do you know if for Colorado Medicaid
Yep.
is it only covered for diagnosis of
I
autism?
believe so, yes. And they were going, they increased the rates recently, and then they were going to do a big cut, and now they're going to do a little bit less of a cut. So they're going back to, I think, the original rates from what I understand, and I put it in the article. I can't remember. There's too much going on. And again, I only have a certain amount of time that I can invest in this on my weekends. So, so there is a lot going on here, right? There's the RBT certification, which is, I think, coming up at the end of the month or something like that. I think it's coming in
October.
close. Yeah.
This is
I know they
October.
gave an extension.
I
So it
feel
might
like
be
it
the
was
end of
October
November.
6th, but maybe the
No, no,
original
no,
was
no.
like
Yeah,
October 6th,
it
wasn't
was
it?
end of September was the
Oh.
original, but I think they gave them a 60-day. So there's the RBT certification coming up, and then there is, the cut, kind of, and now these authorizations in place. So I know that Coaba is working on this, and I believe CASP, I think, was involved in helping with that rate reduction get removed. So good on them. And it sucks that we're here. I think that Colorado seems to be the tip of the iceberg, right? Where we're seeing what happens here may start happening more and more in other states.
Yes, Colorado, like the new Florida.
I mean, Florida also has its own problems, right?
I don't know. Yeah.
With sunshine.
No.
So yeah. So it's just another Medicaid issue, and that's it. That's all I got.
All right. So, what can you do as a business owner? Monitor your Medicaid and payer policy changes monthly. Even small rate shifts can impact margins. So, definitely put that in your calendar as like a monthly check that you do. It shouldn't take but like what 5-10 minutes just to check for any changes.
Yeah, just I mean, I would get on CASP's news like email
Well,
list.
and
I
I'm
would
assuming Coaba would be
yes,
putting up,
would
but
be
it's
yes,
also your own responsibility as a
yes.
business owner to
Yeah.
do the work
And
yourself.
there is that really good Colorado ABA Facebook group. I would absolutely, if you're not in there already,
Right.
I would
Yeah.
join that.
I
Same with
think.
Florida, like Florida,
Mhm.
that they have that Florida Medicaid group, which is
Yeah.
amazing. I can't remember who told us about it, but yeah, those are really helpful groups.
No, I agree. It's really good to have your resources and
Yes.
to learn, like, to get familiar with these resources
Mhm.
and learn what's reputable, what's not, and kind of learn those. But we're like, let's face it, you have so much, like, on your shoulders,
Mhm.
so many things to do. It's really easy, like, some days to walk into a work day and not be able to decide what your priorities are because everything seems equally important.
Yep.
So and things like this can easily go off your radar as something, oh, I can do tomorrow, and then tomorrow never comes, right? And so that's all I'm saying
Yep.
is just put a little check in for yourself, like monthly, of like, whether that means like, okay, I third Thursday of every month I'm going to check in, and maybe that means I go to the
Yes.
co-op site
Yes.
and Facebook groups
Mhm.
and things and do a like quick little search and then go to Medicaid
Mhm.
itself, what however you access that information for your company. And then definitely this is a great opportunity to strengthen documentation to support medical necessity and defend authorization request. And so I was even thinking about this for the previous story that we were talking about. If you don't already feel like your staff is well versed in medical necessity,
Mhm.
it's always a good time to learn more. And so reaching out to someone maybe to come in and do a training for your group, or, reaching out for a CEU opportunity, um, and learn more about medical necessity. If you're a business owner and you're also clinical and that's something that you understand yourself and you can train your team, great. If it's something where that's not something that you're have a strong suit in, or you're not a clinical owner, then definitely that is really super important for you to provide for your clinical team. Even if your clinical team feels like they're pretty strong on it, I think that's an area that we could always grow, continue to grow. I think it's something that's necessary to
Mhm.
check back in with
Mhm.
on the regular. Diversify your payer mix. I mean, don't just take Medicaid or just take one private funder. Like,
Yeah, and I
you
know
definitely
Medicaid
want
is
to.
is great for many providers in certain states, right? But it's just really important that we're not relying completely on one funding source. And I think these Medicaid cut stories just like it's just all across, right? From the East Coast to the West Coast to the Midwest, like it's everywhere. And so this, if you get anything from these news articles that we've been doing for the last few months, diversifying your funders, whether you want to or not, I really think it's important. Yeah, yeah.
The song "This Land Is Your
Uh,
Land, This Land Is My Land" started playing when
this
you were like,
Medicaid
to the
cuts
west, to
are
the
to the
east, to
east
the.
and the west.
All right, so no matter what state you're located in,
Hmm.
join and support your state associate your blah la 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 la. Okay, join or support your ABA association for your state to
Yeah,
stay connected with policy discussions, to collaborate,
and
to work together.
yes,
That's really why these state ABA associations even started in the first place,
yep.
is so that everyone in your state can work together. And even, I have to give that plug for your community. Reach out to other ABA providers in your community and say, hey, how can we help? What can we do together to help this?
Mm-hmm.
Even, hey, maybe it's even, do you guys have a good medical necessity training? Or, hey, we were looking out for this medical necessity training and it was super expensive. And you want to get together and go in halvesies on this and like have it for our team, work together with other providers. And as is always a good idea, this is a great reminder to use this moment to assess your financial model and prepare for rate variability.
Yes.
Do you have any more to say
I
about
mean, if you
that?
do need help with, your wage structure, please feel free to reach out. We do help with that. We have some tools that can help with coming up with your wage ranges, and then structuring around how are we going to provide wages within this or wage increases within this range. So yeah, I reach out if you do need that support. Again, another just shout out to CASP. I really think that all ABA businesses should be supporting CASP at this point. They really seem to be leading the way here,
Yeah, we've had
from what I can see.
a lot of great conversations
So
with a lot of leaders within CASP, and yeah, we're seeing a lot of good work that
yeah,
they're
yeah,
doing, and that's really part of our focus too. And I'd like to shout out to Bryant Silbo. What's
NASC, and
Oh
a
my gosh,
NASCN.
Naskin. Sorry, Bryant. It's got a little slip here on a Monday morning. But they're a really great organization to reach out to. Also, they're really working on
Quality.
quality stuff, right? So I think they're a great group to reach out to. And I don't know. I don't think have we talked about our hotline on this news
Oh,
podcast
I don't know.
before? I don't know if we have or not. So we do have a podcast hotline. And we also, if you guys are new to us and you only know us as Monday Morning ABA News, we also have a longer form podcast that airs on Friday?
Thursday.
Thursday. Oh my goodness, guys. I need to go get my head on straight. So, and please, wherever you're watching this, if you're watching this live, good morning and thank you for joining.
Yeah.
And we do air this on Tuesdays on our podcast in audio podcast format, and then our longer form podcast comes out on Thursdays, and we're on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all of those places. But if you have a direct question for us, or you have a comment, or you want to share a story, please call and leave a message on our hotline 737-330-1448 and press 1 and leave a message for us. All right. Well, I hope you guys have an amazing week, and we'll see you back here next week.
Bye-bye.